Shields up, Iron Breakers. Rurikhan here coming at you with another video, and today we're going to be talking about Final Fantasy XIV, and for that I brought in a guest. This is Meoni. How are you doing, Meoni?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you very much for the opportunity. How are you doing?
I'm doing, I was going to say I'm doing great, but I did have a migraine this morning, so I guess that would be a lie. Let's say I'm doing okay, but I'm super happy to have you. For those of you guys that are not aware, Meoni is a Final Fantasy XIV content creator. He does a lot of stuff in Final Fantasy XIV. As a matter of fact, he is probably the sole person responsible as to why I have like well over 800,000 MGP or 900,000 MGP with your with Fashion Friday show, whatever it is, for the Fashion Report thing.
Fashion Report Friday, yeah. That's put together with a lot of people's assistance, that is. All the way around the world, people are submitting their own solutions to things, and I just collate stuff, and we put it into a video, so yeah.
It is.
Lots of MGP.
I'll tell you right now, it is extremely useful, because like I have these people, a lot of the people that got me into Final Fantasy XIV. They've always told me, because I'm one of those people that I'm like, I want to get the regalia, because I wasn't playing the game when there was the 15 collab, and I'm just like, I want to get the regalia, because I did play 15 all the way to the end, and I enjoyed it. And I played it before they patched like chapter 13 or whatever it was, so like the ugly chapter 13. I still enjoyed it, so I was like, man, you can have the regalia in this game. I want to have the regalia, and I can't. And people tell me that if it ever comes back, it'll probably come back through the gold saucer stuff. And I was like, I have nothing. I don't know how to make any of these. And then eventually I ran into your videos and I was like, oh, okay, I guess I'll just start saving up like 60,000 every week. And and now I just stopped saving up because I have so many of those points. And I'm just like, if the regalia comes out, I'm ready. Like, it just can't be over 1 million. If it's more than 1 million, then I'm going to be upset, because I've been saving up all this money.
Yeah, originally the 15 event was supposed to be coming back, because Yoshi P's been asked about it multiple times, and the last one we heard was him saying, sometime when we have time between other things. So recently, when they've had to combine events together, like they had with Valention's and Little Ladies' Day recently, the likelihood of you seeing the 15 event in the game again is probably pretty likely towards the summer, I would say.
Oh man, this is the year I'm gonna get it. So I actually only started playing 14 for real around 2019, because there was a big lull in between like Monster Hunter updates, because I was mostly doing Monster Hunter stuff, and I was like, I want to finally give 14 a shot, because I played the beta of this game. I actually interviewed one of the community managers before the launch of beta, because I went to E3 and I was able to interview one of those guys. It was his Twitter handle is Matalos, I think.
Okay.
So that was really cool, and I did play it a little bit, but I was playing it like World of Warcraft, so I was like grabbing all of the quests and then batch completing them, and I got really bored of that really fast. That's a terrible way to do it. It's almost like
time.
Go ahead.
Like at the time, though, in A Realm Reborn, though, it was just a case of just picking up as many side quests as possible, because the EXP wasn't as great as it is now from the MSQ. Like nowadays, you can just do the main storyline and have enough, more than enough experience points to actually get you over leveled. But when that first came out, I was doing every single side quest because it was pretty much needed. There was a lot of bottlenecks before, especially towards the level 50 area, you were struggling to find things to give you XP, apart from fates. But that was my problem. I didn't do any fates because I hated them back then, and now I love them.
I still liked fates back then. I thought fates were always fun. I don't know.
I don't know.
But the biggest problem that I had was like, I wouldn't know which ones were the important quests. Right. So I would just be doing everything, and I'd be like, I don't get what the story is. I'm getting really bored this night. Eventually burned out. But yeah, in 2019, I actually live streamed it. So I had a lot of people from the community, and I find the 14 community amazing, because
it is
in a live stream, right, where there was like between 80 and sometimes 150 people watching, and I didn't get spoiled to anything. Like I
It's
actually
crazy, isn't
had
it?
people were moderating chat and whatnot, and whenever someone wanted to know my progress on certain things, they would just like make vague allusions that everybody would understand but me, and so I never got
Yeah.
spoiled. I was really amazed by that. So yeah, I played the whole thing, and I actually the way that I played it was I did all of the raids as I was finishing each of the expansions. So before I moved
Oh,
on to
nice.
Heaven's Word, I did everything in Realm Reborn. The worst part for me was the Stormblood raids because I have no nostalgia for Evilis. So
Oh, right,
yeah,
yeah.
those were quite verbose, and I was like reading them out loud too. That was that was the one where I was like, "Okay, guys, I'm not reading this out loud anymore because like I'm gonna run out of voice. It's too much."
Oh, yeah, the Evilist stuff is very heavy, but that's based on, the games that's from. 12 is like I would imagine that if you were to put a script of everything that was ever said in 12 next to the other games or like any of the other games, it would be like 5 times as tall a stack of paper.
Jesus.
It's just insane because it's all a lot of old English and mixed in with some very broad ways about going about explaining something simple. Very political based. If you've never played 12, I'm not sure. Have you?
No, I haven't. But interestingly enough, after I played 14, I actually bought 12 for the Switch. I was like,
It's a
eventually, one of
fantastic
these
game.
days, I'll want to play this. So I just bought it because I found it cheap on Amazon. But
Mm.
yeah, it was just an amazing experience. And by the way, I constantly have people ask me this in my comment section whenever I talk about 14. It's like, am I too late to this game? You're never too late to this game. You just can't play it like, oh, I got to get the Shadowbringers super fast and I got to skip all of these other things because they don't matter anymore. It's like there's still people doing the old content. Like
Oh yeah.
it's fine, and the story itself is still a good story. And there's a free trial, takes you all the way up to the ending of Evan's Word, so you can literally play the
Which
whole
is
thing.
crazy.
It's insane
That's so crazy.
when you think about how good of an expansion Heaven's Word is. It just blows me away that they're just like, yeah, you can have this for free. We don't care. It's like,
Yeah, when they originally announced that, a lot of us were like, "Really? They're giving them Heavensward? That's generous, isn't it?" Like
yeah,
so many hours of just, oh, it's just pure bliss. If you've not picked up a game yet and you're on the edge of deciding, just do it. Honestly, you'll
yeah.
just save yourself the stress. Just jump in.
And
Go for it.
I actually have a question for you about that because I don't have an accurate memory of how long it took me. How many hours would you say that is? I've been telling people it's about anywhere from 150 to like 200. Is that too much, or
For Heavensward, or are we talking up to
for Realm Reborn and Heaven's Word?
I think about 120 is about realistic for a casual sort of playthrough where you read everything. If you were to do just like skipping everything, they've what's the
Well,
word?
I mean,
Like homogenized a lot of the quests. It's a lot more straightforward than it ever used to be because they did a rework on it. So it used to be a lot longer. But it depends what you do. If you're going to just follow the MSQ quest, the meteor symbol quest, you'll get there in much less time. If you're going to do all of the unlock quests, which is what you should do, and I say this to every single person who starts the game, don't just brush off the blue exclamation, like the unlock quests. Do anything that has a plus on it. Any quest you see with a plus on it, do it. Otherwise, you're going to be stopping yourself from being able to do roulettes later on, which is our form of like daily dungeons, etc. Because obviously it needs you to unlock all of that. Just do everything you possibly can that's a plus, and then a meteor. Don't do all of the side quests. There's no point anymore unless you like the lore,
yeah.
or save them for your alts. That's what a lot of people do these days.
But basically, today I wanted to kind of like focus us on the announcement that happened. Was it Thursday or Friday? Not this week, but like the week before. I think it was Thursday, wasn't it? It was the 5th of February.
You mean the showcase? That was
Yeah,
like
the showcase.
Friday for me.
Oh.
It was like Friday night / Saturday morning because it was
Okay, so it was
ridiculous.
Friday.
It was 1 a.m. Yeah,
Yeah,
like 1
it was
a.m.
super
there.
late. Like I skipped. I did a live stream on it, but I skipped the live letter because I was just like, dude, it's way too late for me to live stream this. Forget
And a
about
lot of
it.
people did. A lot of people did, which is why I stayed up half asleep waiting for them to get to the point halfway through the live letter. It's like the first half of a live letter was like, 5.5 looks. so far. And then the rest of it was just, this is my job about coordinating things within Square Enix. I was like, is there going to be anything else we talk about here? So I sat there for hours and hours until finally I gave up, made a summary video. And as I posted the summary video, somebody said in the comment section, wait, isn't this live stream still happening? It's like, yeah, but pretty much they're not they're not talking about anything relevant now. So, as much as that sounds a bit bad manners to the gentleman that was on the stream, it was basically how to get his job, like the compendium. That's what it was. So I got very bored very quickly, and I needed to get stuff out and go to sleep because that was a long day.
Yeah. So just a quick warning here, guys, because we're going to be talking about Endwalker, we might brush up on some lore things from Shadowbringers. So at this point in the video, if you still haven't finished Shadowbringers, then maybe you want to skip ahead or something. Well, not skip ahead, but like maybe you want to watch this later because you really do want to enjoy the story of 14 before, the whole thing about getting to Endwalker is a process. And I constantly tell people that the impacts of the story itself is compounded greatly by how much you've interacted with the characters throughout the other expansions. So like someone might skip everything to Shadowbringers and be like, man, Shadowbringers was amazing. But someone that didn't skip it will be like, holy crap. Like I still get tears in the final cutscene. Like the other day I was watching Jesse Cox's reaction to the final cutscene, and he was tearing up as well. And I was like, yeah, dude, that's right.
I wouldn't advise a level skip unless you're, or a story skip unless you're, you've already got one at max level and you just want some alts boosted up. But a story skip to me personally is the most painful thing that I can imagine someone purchasing at the actual cash shop, unless it's on another server or something as an alt. But your first time, the way that those characters are crafted and built up in layers, you start to care for them. Some die, some change, some change complete classes. You'll miss out on so much. And Heavensward alone, as well as A Realm Reborn, as much as it's a bit of a chore, there's so much development that you need to know before you go into the rest of the game.
Don't remind me of Heavensward because, you see, I have this thing about fantasy dwarves. Like they're like my favorite fantasy race, and that's not a race that is in Final Fantasy, right? But dwarves' natural enemy is like the elves. So I have this thing where I kind of almost like, I hate elves. I can't stand elves. And then the thing happens in Heavensward, and I'm like, no, I actually care. Stop.
That's that specific scene with an airship. That was something that was very difficult not to cry. Someone was cutting onions near my gameplay.
Those ninjas, man. It's not just mudras. They're bringing onions to the party, and they're just like sitting there chopping them up. Okay, so Endwalker, talk to me. How did you feel about the trailer? Because I have so many feelings about that trailer. Talk to me.
I mean, just the footprint in the dust. And as soon as I realized they're on the moon, I was like, yes. That was my first impression. I don't know. I was with a bunch of guys and we sat down and we were on Discord and the screams were just incredible of people just overly excited for this. But it was, I don't know, I predicted it, but it still felt just as exciting. The way that this game is going now, the idea that the moon is now like a thing that we're going to be going to alone, just as a concept, so many questions. It's kind of like, I mean, you've played a lot of World of Warcraft, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I grew up reading Richard Nark's novels like War of the Ancients and stuff like that, and Day of the Dragon and all those things. So I knew that the storyline of where World of Warcraft could go. This is the first time for me where I'm like, I have no idea what's even going to happen. Like Shadowbringers, you could tell bits and pieces based on what they'd written before. This time, I have no idea. I have no idea what to expect.
Because they kind of planted those seeds in previous expansions, right? It was Heavensward when we interacted with the Warriors of Light, right? Or
Warriors of Darkness at the time,
Warriors of Darkness, yeah. It's just it starts getting confusing because like sometimes we're the warrior of light, other times we're the warrior of darkness.
It depends what world we're on. It's depending on how we're seen. That's the best way to see it.
Yeah, but it's like in Heaven's Word is when we first interact with him. I thought I was like, okay, so we helped out the first, we're done, and then there's just like this whole expansion taking place in the first, which is completely crazy. But yeah, I guess you could kind of like see. You can kind of there's like a connection there, but then the moon. The only thing that we've seen of the moon is that sometimes we see who is it? Is it Elidibus who's up there sometimes? Right? We've
Also,
seen him
at
on
the
a
end
couple.
of Stormblood, I think it was, where you actually see in the background a structure, and in one of the, if you pause the frame on it, you can actually see the physical representation of a zodiac, like statue, on the side of the moon as he's walking around. So that's the only thing back then that made me go, "Oh, we're going there one day." That's the only link that I've got to this, other than like Final Fantasy IV, right?
Yeah.
You know?
But Garlemald, there was already a lot of people that suspected that we would eventually go to Garlemald as well. I feel like the whole thing has been the whole thing has kind of like been building up. We're gonna have to go there eventually. So going to the moon, amazing. But you know what was even more amazing for me is
Sage?
that my main class is the poster boy for the expansion.
Ah, Paladin. Yes, of course. What is that? Is that a shield bash? What is that move that they're doing on the amazing CGI cutscene? Is that a new move, or are we going to see glowy shield bash?
I think if that is an actual move in game, that is probably going to be a new move. The closest thing that you have to that is like Sheltron, where he just puts up the shield in front of him.
Yeah.
But the glow that you see in the shield is the same glow that you get in the current relic weapon. The step before
right, yeah.
The step before the step that they added in 5.4 or whatever. Like my weapon looked just like that until like 5 minutes ago when I finally got my 15 things from the Crystal Tower.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Many Delibrum runs await you. But yeah,
I know.
The thing that Yoshi P said during the announcement, or was it at the start of the live letter, or whatever it was, I remember specifically the translation was, we're trying to make it so that everybody has an ability like Passage of Arms, something to bring someone to each one of those particular jobs to make them feel exciting and special. So I think we're going to see more things like that, right?
He specifically said Passage of Arms because I didn't watch too much of the live letter. I just watched the translation on
it was exactly things that look and feel as epic to your job identity as Passage of Arms. They want to give that to everybody.
I thought that's interesting that he brings it up because I constantly tell people, listen, it doesn't matter what class you play. I have the best animation in the game. It's that simple. And it's Passage of Arms.
It is the best animation in the game. So I can only imagine what they'll give to other jobs. I mean, you just, your imagination runs wild. Like, what am I going to get as a white mage? Just a massive lily on the screen or something? I don't know.
Blood for the blood lily.
Yeah, the room just fills with blood, and then it's like, yes, blood for the blood lily. And it just absorb everyone's HP and just steal it and redistribute it. Like, take it from one alliance group to mine.
So when you saw the little shooty things in the first trailer that they showed, the Nuliths or whatever they're called, did you think that was the new healer class? Because like the moment I saw that they were attached to, they were connected to Alphino, I was like thinking to myself, that's 100% the new healer, because Alphino was playing the role of a healer. So I just assumed that that's what it was. What were your thoughts about that?
The first thing you see is as soon as Alice's done her red mage bit, the new lifts are spinning around shooting, right?
Yeah.
My instant thing was I knew that there would be a healer in this, and it felt like the obvious choice would be to reveal it now. So, because obviously we're going to get 2 jobs out of this at least, although it's not confirmed if we're getting more or less or the same. No words were said at this time. They're keeping it very close.
No. They did say that we're getting 2 jobs.
Did they?
Yeah.
Only 2 jobs.
Only 2 jobs. I mean, yeah.
There's no mention of any limited jobs, right?
It was no. I think they said only 2 jobs, which was the healer and a melee DPS.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. I don't remember that.
Yeah.
Interesting. The more you know. But yeah, as soon as I saw those new lifts, I was like, okay, they kind of look a little bit like syringes. And then as soon as like he's like touching the side of her, I was like, oh, healer. And then we had the whole showcase thing. But yeah, it makes sense to have another healer. We need a 4th healer. to
It's
be
like
perfectly honest.
I feel like the community was all going towards chemist. I myself was going towards chemist because of that. I think it was 5.3 or whatever. They introduced that little child.
Yeah.
It's like, I want to help and I want to do chemical things and whatnot. So I think most people are going for chemist and geomancer because geomancer is also teased in the Astro quest line. And
Yeah, it
then
is.
Yoshi P's just like, nah, dude, guns.
It did feel a little bit like, yes, you're getting a healer, but you're never going to guess what it is. Like, no one could have
Yeah.
guessed that it would be this Gundam gun spouting, like, laser syringe wielding badass with more style than a red mage. Like, the way that he stands at the end of that showcase, like the little trailer that they had on the
With his
showcase for
abilities, yeah.
Sage, I was like, it's the red mage of healers. That is so cool, you know.
The
But
Sage is
yeah.
extremely appealing. Like when I saw it, I was like, yep, that looks like a lot of fun. And so then they said that healers are now going to come in two types. I mean, they essentially kind of already were, which is the shield healers and I'm just going to call it heal healers, the healers that actually heal and the healers that shield.
Yeah, throughput.
And it's like we already had that because like we had the scholar, which was the shield one, and then we had the white mage, which is the healy heal one, and then you had the midpoint of the Astro, which can do both essentially through the sects that he has.
Yeah.
But now they're like, no, we're gonna Astro, forget about. I mean, they didn't straight up say forget about Nocturnal sect, but that's pretty much implied when they said Astro is going to be a full healer, and then Sage is going to be the other barrier healer. So, as a white mage, what do you think about all this stuff?
I'm happy, personally. I think Astro, I mean, I like playing Astro as well as White Mage, but White Mage main for the most part all the way through. As Astro, when I go into somewhere, I'm usually forced into Diurnal recently anyway, because they made Nocturnal kind of meh. Honestly, it's useful in some situations, and some people like to use Nocturnal when there's a White Mage present, right? But in Endgame Savage Raiding, for example, or if you did anything difficult, you'd be expected to be Diurnal anyway because of the output, right? It would be required over the shields that you would provide otherwise. So in that way, if they're going to tailor the content in the future towards that part of the game as well, primarily, which they usually do, focus it towards the Savage content for each of the jobs for balance, then it needed to find a new home. And especially if you're going to add a new healer, if you added Sage as a shield healer, well, Astro would be dead, wouldn't it? Instantly, because it doesn't fit the archetype anymore. So turning Astro into just a diurnal throughput healing machine like White Mage, and then making it so that you have that differential between now Scholar hopefully should be. It needs a rework. Scholar does. I don't know if you've ever played Scholar, but it's a bit dreadful at the moment, right? I'm not a fan. Personally, I'm sorry to scholars out there, but you need a rework. You do. You deserve one, okay, to be better than you are. And the fact that they're going to make those a shield healer alongside Sage, and then when Yoshi P was like, your most optimal way would be to have a pure and a shield healer. Well, it's always been that way, and at least now you have that choice. It's a bit fairer, and I don't think Astro will miss Nocturnal, personally, as much as I enjoyed it.
I'll be honest. Like Astro was the first healer that I leveled up because I was like, I want to play because I think I started playing. I started by playing Scholar a little bit, and I was like, this is too easy. The pet is just like doing everything. I was in the early levels. I was still.
Yeah.
I wasn't aware of how things were going to change when you get to the end, but I was like at the start, and I was like, this is boring. I want to play the other one because supposedly it's more complicated, so that might be more fun. And I got really into Astro. Like I was really enjoying it. The biggest thing is I'm not a fan of the animations. That's not to say that they're bad. It's just the animations I don't find them pleasing. Like I think they're great, but they're not my style of animations, right? So
interesting.
Yeah, I'm here's the thing. I'm very much animation driven. So if I don't like what the character is doing on screen, if it doesn't look appealing to me, I don't want to play the character. So for instance, I love tanking. I cannot play Dark Knight because of the way that he runs. The way that he runs with the sword down looks like he's about to pole vault over his own sword. It looks like if there's a little stone in the way, he's going to trip over and cut himself. I can't stand that, so I can't play Dark Knight.
I would rather have, if it was me, I'd rather have the Dark Knight sword like behind you, where like you're dragging it across the floor, kind of.
Yeah,
That would be how I would want my Dark Knight. I think you might
I
agree
would.
to that. Like Cloud, basically.
Yeah, I would 100% play the crap out of that. But like with the way
Yeah.
that he holds, like it might even be more realistic, but it just looks so awkward that it just doesn't make any sense. And here's the thing: the animations when he's actually attacking, they're great. But you spend a lot of
Mm.
time walking from place to place, and I would always be looking at him like, I can't stand the way you walk. Stop walking like that. I'll crack that sword in half so that you won't fall and hurt yourself.
Well,
Um,
with a sword that size, you're not gonna like from a I don't know from a like LARP sort of standpoint, you're not going to be able to have the energy to be able to do anything with it if it's in front of you. So it makes sense to swing something like that with as much momentum as possible from behind, right?
yeah.
Am I wrong about that?
I
Like you're going to need momentum to carry that.
here's the thing. I've heard some people say that that is actually the, you know, like if you're a sword fighter, that is actually a good way to carry a blade. But it's like I don't think they're thinking about carrying a blade like that for the distance that we usually
Oh
run
yeah.
around with. Like I think that's good if you're making small movements in the middle of a duel, sure. But like if you're running through a whole dungeon like that, it's just not. You might
Yeah,
as well
the
sheath the
small
weapon.
yeah, the small movements are like more of a like a long sword or like a
Yeah.
rapier or something like that. Not a massive broadsword that size. You know that's yeah, that's going to weigh. Some of those relic weapons look like they weigh a ton. You know.
But basically, the animations was the reason why I eventually fell out of Astro because
Mm.
I actually like the mechanics of like the cards and giving people the different buffs and whatnot. I've heard that that used to be more complicated. Did you play it when it was more complicated?
Yeah, yeah. You had specific cards for specific people, and they homogenized it to 10% DPS gain. And I single-handedly just went no,
So you preferred
just
the old
no.
style?
I do. I
Yeah,
prefer having each card have. I know there was more RNG involved, but it felt more like I was. It was I was tossing out RNG basically. You know, if I pulled up a card, I was like, oh well, that's kind of crap. I could burn that and then use it into Lords or Ladies, right? And then
yeah.
get damage anyway. I think that the new version is made primarily. This will annoy some people. Primarily to casualize Astrologian to make it more playable across the board for everybody. And I think it was too complicated for some people before
I
and didn't fit in line with the other healers.
I don't think that's
Just
going to
saying.
annoy some people because, like everyone that I've talked to about Astro while I was leveling it and stuff, most people agreed that the
Really?
homogenized that was my understanding, at least throughout my community. Most people that did play Astro, they said the homogenized version wasn't as fun as it used to be,
Yeah.
like having specific cards for each people. Since the homogenized version is the only one that I know, it's like to me,
Yeah.
I'm like, I wish I knew what the if the other one was fun or not. Like I find this one fun because it gives you interesting things to do while you're juggling your heals and whatnot. Here's a card, here's this thing, here's that. You know, I thought that was a lot of fun. Like again, in terms of mechanics, I like the Astro's mechanics more. I haven't
Mm.
played White Mage yet. White Mage is still like level 2. But I played
You need to
that
get
and I
on that.
played what?
You need to get on that. You need to level the true healer. Come on. Come on.
To
Do it
be
for me.
honest, to be honest, if I was able to access like all of the content in the game with just the paladin, I would probably just play the paladin. The problem is that now I want to do the quests in the void and whatnot, and I need to like, you know, I had to
Oh, they're
go
good.
do the
They're
quests
good.
for my summoner, and yeah. So that was actually a thing because I thought you needed a melee DPS for Shadowbringers. So I was leveling up a samurai, and then I realized, wait, no, I don't need that because I have a machinist at level 80, and I have a summoner
Mm.
because I leveled up the scholar. So I don't need anything. I can go do these quests right now. And I think I've spent like 2 weeks of every day just going and doing like MSQ and all of the MSQ and leveling and even doing like random side quests to just try to level up. And then I was like, I don't need this. I don't need this for anything.
That's good
It's,
for now, but you will need
I
your
will need
samurai in
him.
the future.
Yeah.
Because
I'll
they're
need the
making it
melee.
so that they're differentiating between physical ranged, magical ranged, and melee. So you will need you'll need all of your different roles in those specific things because in Endwalker we have all of those distinctions for the role quests because they felt that it was a little bit too difficult to create storylines around something that was so different.
Yeah. So
Yeah, which I agree on.
I'm curious about something because I came into 14 after Shadowbringers was released, so I don't know how this works. But when they release a new class, does the
Yeah.
class only become available when the expansion launches, or do you have access to the class before the expansion launches?
Okay, so for normal jobs, when an expansion comes out, as soon as day one hits of you being able to log into the game, you'll go to Limsa Lominsa and be able to pick up Sage from the quest there.
But you can't
You
do
won't
it before.
that's right. No, you can't.
I
So
almost,
the world first race, for example, for the first level 90 Sage starts at 70 and will start on exactly the day that the expansion comes out.
yeah, I'm not overly concerned with World First. It's more just like, for someone
Mm.
that wants to play Sage, right? It would be cool if they would give you access to it, like, I don't know, a week. Like, say you pre ordered it or something, right? You pre ordered the expansion. If they would give you like a
Mm.
week of playing Sage so that you could level it up to 80 and be ready to go right into the new content with this class that you've been practicing.
It's a good point, and maybe that's something that they should think about in the future because it would have made things a little bit, easier before, with Red Mage and Dancer before. But I don't know. I'm still going to be picking up that Sage and going
So
through it.
that
It's not going to take me too long to level, I don't think.
so that's the first thing that you're doing. Like day one of Endwalker, you're like, Sage, let's go.
It shouldn't take me too long to get 10 levels, really. I mean, yeah, I'm pretty sure I could get some people to help me through just like dungeon spamming. It shouldn't take more than maybe 5 hours, something like that, maybe less.
5 hours for 10 levels?
It really depends what I can get. If I can get people to have instant queue, then yeah, but no one's going to be queuing for the old stuff, are they? On day
Yeah,
one.
I would imagine day one, probably not.
And we don't have a deep dungeon this time, so
Were deep
it's going to
dungeons
be a little
usually
bit slow.
available like right on the first patch?
Before you could go straight into a deep dungeon with when the expansion came out. Yeah,
Hmm.
like with Stormblood, for example, a lot of people used Palace and Heaven on High.
Yeah.
Just all you saw was tons of people outside Heaven on High instead of doing the new storyline. So I don't know.
Yeah.
It's something that I do agree on, though. I think that maybe they should make it so that you could play like a week earlier, and it would give them a free beta test, basically, of the job before it went live. If there was
Exactly.
any glaring issues.
I didn't even think of like, oh, there's actually a serious problem with this job when when you put it together with this other class combination that we didn't even think of, and now this thing is completely busted. I wasn't even thinking about that. I was just like, I would figure that I'm not interested in in starting up as a sage, right? I'm just gonna get my paladin and start going. But if I
Mm.
was, like, my thought would be like, man, it'd be good if I was level 80 ahead of the expansion itself so that I would be able to, just start with the new content fresh on the day of. I mean, it's a suggestion if the developers ever watch this, like, hey guys, just think about it.
It's a good suggestion. I think that most people vote like myself who might be wanting to go Sage as more of like, let's imagine that it's good enough for me to choose it as a main. Okay, I don't know yet that until we see more about it. But if I do decide to do Sage on day one, it's because within the next week or so that when the raid unlocks that I have something to go in with the rest of my raid group, right? My static, so that
Yeah.
we're all already writing down what we would like to be. There's already one person who's like put his name down for being that new melee. So it means that we're going to lose our dragoons, so then we're organizing around that. So there are people that are going to make different decisions depending on what content they do, right? So yeah, I think most people like yourself though will just go straight into Endwalker,
Oh yeah,
and hopefully there's no bottlenecks this time in the quest.
I'm just going straight in there. What do you mean by bottlenecks though?
Okay, so in Stormblood, going back a little bit,
Okay, Raw Bonnie X.
yeah,
Yeah.
Raban, basically everybody was stuck on that. In Shadowbringers, it wasn't so much. There was one, if I remember, but it wasn't anything quite as large as that. I think the servers just crapped out, to be perfectly honest. But yeah, hopefully there's no silly bottlenecks. Hopefully, we have a choice of where to go. So let's talk about this for a second, actually. This is interesting. So, what do you feel about? I mean, you've played World of Warcraft. The idea that when they bring out new content, of which the last stuff I played was Miss Pandaria properly, where you had like players starting at different locations. Do you think then we can safely imagine that Garlemald or slash Fafnir will be two places that we start at depending on choice, or are we all going to be funneled into Fafnir or Garlemald? That's
I
the
mean,
question.
on 14, we're obvious. I mean, I think if you take into account the way it's been done before, we're going to be funneled into these areas. We're not really going to get to pick.
Mm. Yeah, but in Shadowbringers, you could make the choice of Amareng or
Oh, right.
Colucia, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You could choose to go
Colucia
after
and
Alphino,
the other one.
or Alice.
My brain. Yeah, yeah. So you had that choice, and the real reason that they put that in was to split data load and also prevent from too many people doing the same thing, right? So there was going to be people that could do the fates, that could do the quests if there was a certain monster required for it or whatever. That was the reason that exists.
I actually forgot about that. Did they funnel you afterwards, or do you get to choose two more afterwards? I forget.
Once you've done, no, you have the choice. No, you have to do both, don't you? You have to do both, and then you get told that you've got to go to Ilmek.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, you do those two, and then you go get Urianger. I know that Tancred was like one of the last ones, right? Yeah, because after Urianger, then you go into Lahi.
The best zone. Yeah, one of the best zones. I love that zone.
That zone is really good. I do like that zone a lot. Like I actually love I just love how bold the soundtrack decisions are in Final Fantasy XIV. Like I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, because I've been trying to get a couple of friends of mine that play World of Warcraft to, hey, guys, you should come and play 14. It's much better, guys. Trust me. And so this friend of mine, I was telling him, dude, you should listen to the soundtrack in this game. And he tells me there's one thing that I really like about WoW's soundtrack, and I'm like, well, what's that? And it's that I can turn it off.
Funny you should say that. I was exactly the same when I was playing WoW. There's only so many times I can hear the same theme in a zone or like in a tavern theme or whatever it is, and I'm like, yeah, okay, that's enough of that. And that's not like a big dig at. I mean, it was Russell Brower at the time who was pretty much a legend, but he didn't get as much hands on to the rest. Like he didn't get as much of a budget, let's say, towards making those things really pop. Whereas Masayoshi Soken in 14 has really gone ham, and the budget has allowed for it. And it's so good that they're getting a bigger budget for this as it goes further. You can feel it. Like everything is just, I don't know, when you first booted up Shadowbringers, when you go into combat for the first time, that battle theme, it blew me away. I was like, oh my God, where are these electric guitars coming from? This is awesome. Such a contrast, but every little thing that we take for granted, even in turning in quests, like the guitar riff instead of... Yeah, and we had different for Heavensward that was more like a cathedral-y noise, like, as I call it, like churchy sort of stuff. And then in Stormblood, we had that sort of, like everything depends on this sort of thing. I look forward to all of these little stings as much as I do the big orchestral blasts of zone music or primal battles or whatever it might be. Like Hades, for example, is one of my favorite pieces of music from Shadowbringers. And probably the entire game. Like Phase 2 of Hades, I don't know how many times I've had that on repeat on the stream. It's just so good.
I have that, and then I also do the one from the Warrior of Light. I forget the name. To the Edge. Right? Is it To the Edge or From the Edge? I forget the actual names. I'm terrible at bringing up names of musics, but yeah, I blast that, and obviously the Twining. And during the announcement, they also released the one from the weapons with the primals video where
Yes.
Koji Fox is up top, looks like a friggin' Sith Lord.
Yes, yes. I
That is
can't wait to get
so
the
good.
was it Saints and Sinners, is it? The new album?
Yeah,
Blu-ray?
the arrangement or whatever they're calling it, Shadowbringers arrangement, whatever. Yeah, I want to buy that too. I don't think have I bought a game soundtrack before? I don't think I have, but I want to buy this one because it's so damn good. And then you also have like the I don't know if it's just like it's probably slightly remixed, but the Final Fantasy VIII tracks, because Final Fantasy VIII was I don't play a lot of Final Fantasies, right? But Final Fantasy VIII was actually one of the first console games I ever played because a cousin of mine showed it to me, and she was like, "Oh, you should try playing this." And so those musics just trigger some massive nostalgia for me. So when they start playing, "Don't Be Afraid," like I remember when I was fighting the Iconoclasm for the first time. I was like, dude, this fight is completely insane. I have no idea what I'm doing, but this music friggin' rocks.
The first thing that hit me is when you go into the empty, and then the first thing you hear is Bluefields. I was like, oh yeah. Every single hair is just on end there. This is like the best thing ever. Being like my favorite Final Fantasy game is 8, so this was like, oh, please do some more 8 related stuff, and we got a few bits and pieces, but I was disappointed with Eden's final boss personally, but
that was actually one of the things that I would constantly call people out on, which is, you know how a lot of people like to say, "Oh, 8's not that good," but and I'm just like, all of you people out there saying that 8 is not that good, and then you're all in here playing friggin' Gunbreakers, okay? Every last one of you is in here playing a Gunbreaker, so shut the hell up. I actually
I don't know.
I went back and forth for quite a while, like trying to decide which one is actually my main. Is it the Gunbreaker or is it the Paladin? Because I also really like explosions. So I like Sword and Shield, but I like explosions as well. So I was like, oh.
Who doesn't? I'm surprised you've not played Black Mage if you like explosions. They're pretty big.
I'm not into casters though. I'm more of a tank guy, just straight up tanking.
Yeah, okay. Obviously.
So taking us back to Endwalker a little bit, because we've been going to so many sidetracks. So the second class, do you also believe it's going to be some kind of like scythe wielding thing?
Reaper, like Soul Reaper or something like that. I don't know. That's my guess. I don't think it's going to be Necromancer. I don't think because obviously Necromancer it's not really a melee. I think it'll be like a Soul Reaper, maybe using blood magics or soul magics. Maybe it's something that we discover because there are links that we might be seeing. I mean, you haven't done them yet, so I don't want to really spoil it, but the Void Quests sort of hint at the potentiality of that being an importance in the storyline soon, the 13th. So Void Magic is very much something that we are looking at and is being employed in the characters that are around us. And, obviously from Endwalker's trailer, we can see Void Scent in Gridania killing people whilst it's on fire. And the Warriors of Light and the Warrior of Light and the Scions, such as Alphino as Sage, protecting Gridania and various other places. So I think that it could link to that. It could also link to Zenos because there is a freeze frame. I'm sure you've seen it on Reddit or the internet where it looks like something that's very long and blade-like is leaning against Zenos' throne in that tower. So, and obviously you've got the speculation of what is that? Is it a scythe? Is that something, is this a hammer? A lot of people are saying, it could be a massive hammer because people were asking for a hammer-related class related to Gaia's weapon because they were sad that we couldn't wield that. I personally think it will be a scythe-wielding character involving a storyline with Zenos, mostly because one of the cutscenes before was him treading on his own blade and snapping it and saying that he needed something better, right? It just all fits together. A bit of void magic. What are your thoughts? What do you want is the better question from that melee.
I mean, I wanted something different because I'm also not too into scythes. Like I wanted something with either 2 one-handed hammers. Like I wanted a hammer type melee class when they said that it was going to be a melee DPS type of thing. I'm usually more into tanks, but since it's a melee DPS, I'd probably want something with like a hammer. Maybe dual wield hammers, dual wield axes, something along those lines. But I'll be happy with whatever. Really, it's not like melee DPS is something that I care too much anyway. Like I'm mostly into tanking, and one of the things that I'm super happy about is the fact that since there's a new healer, unlike with Shadowbringers, where I was playing a tank and there was like a million other tanks queuing, this time around there's going to be a million other healers queuing, and I'm going to be playing a tank. That's going to be very nice.
Lots of us barrier mages out there. Not all of us are going to be good though. Let's put it that way.
Uh,
You're going to have some interesting times ahead of you.
Well, that's the advantage of being a paladin. Even if the healer dies, I can just heal the party myself. It's not really a problem.
For now, right?
Oh, right.
We don't know what job adjustments are being made, and you might have abilities stripped from you. So maybe in the future, maybe after the FanFest, you should do another video with me because I would like to hear your response to that. that would be fun because I'll be like, they're taking passage of arms from me, or something like that.
They wouldn't dare.
They wouldn't dare. They're taking cover off of your bars. You don't need it anymore.
Well, I don't really use. Wait, cover. Which one is cover? Is that the one that reduces the damage of somebody else by 10%, or is that the one that I just take their hit?
Citation needed. I think it's the one where you take their hit. I don't play enough tanking stuff at the moment.
Because here's the thing. There's one of them that I don't use pretty much at all because, I don't really do savage content. I just do regular raiding. I do have like a macro for Sheltron where basically if somebody else is tanking and they're in my party, then I will automatically cast the thing that reduces their damage instead of casting Sheltron because it uses the same resource. So I just optimize it for like, I'm not tanking. I might as well be doing something for somebody else and using this thing. But the actual, the actual cover, I don't. Again, I don't know which one's cover, which one's the other thing. But the other one, I don't use it all that much. But so I wouldn't mind that. But I would mind them taking away Passage of Arms. But you're saying that is all going to be revealed at the FanFest, like the job changes and stuff like that.
They said we're getting the job adjustments being looked at in the digital FanFest, right? More information soon, quote unquote, TM.
Yeah.
But I'm curious. I'm curious what stuff they take away from people and what they give them. I hear a million black mages all going, please don't give us a res and homogenize our DPS. Please don't do it. Please don't do it. Because there's a subset of the community that are like, give black mages the ability to cast and move and a res. It's like, and then my black mage friend in our static is like, what are they doing? Don't do this. Yeah, they're gonna make us. They're gonna make us crap.
That's actually one of the. If I have like a criticism in regards, because like, here's the thing: 14 does outstanding balance when it comes to their classes, and to me, that is something that is important. I've had this discussion with Brian in the past. But like, to me, that is something that is important as someone that used to play World of Warcraft. Even recently, I went into Shadowlands, played a little bit of Shadowlands. And when your class is so bad that he's just straight up not viable, if you're trying to do like endgame stuff, it really sucks. Because basically it's like, oh, you want to be a tank? That's cool. You want to do endgame stuff? That's great. You better not play a warrior though. Like, I don't know what state it is in right now. I can tell you, like, at the start of Shadowlands, Warrior was so bad that it wasn't even viable. Like, just forget about it. The amount of effort that it would, the amount of effort that it would take.
Still the same.
Yeah, it's like the amount of effort that it would take for your party to be able to have you be a warrior is just infinitely more than if you play like a monk or a paladin or something like that, or even a demon hunter. Demon hunter is just like straight up broken. But like, while the classes are very well balanced, like swapping between them, you can tell that there's also a significant amount of homogenization there. So like swapping between Paladin and Gunbreaker, for instance, yes, the combo is different and the stuff that you do is different. But once you get used to it, you have kind of like similar spells. Like I have Passage of Arms. They have the thing that reduces magical damage by however much percent. I forget the name of it, but there's little squares that pop off the ground and whatnot. And the warrior has something similar as well that puts like thorns around people and whatnot and also protects them from some form of damage. And I would assume that the Dark Knight has something like that as well. So it's kind of like you can see that, this class has this has this has this, and then all of them have like one spell that kind of mimics another thing that the class has. I almost think that Paladin is the more unique one because he can just straight up heal other people and has the cover abilities where he like
At the moment.
sacrifices his own, yeah, at the moment, where he like sacrifices some of his stuff in favor of somebody else. But like, I felt like apart from that, most of the stuff that you get is fairly similar in between the tanks.
Mm.
I don't know how much it is for the other classes because tanks is the stuff that I've played the most, but it does feel significantly homogenized, and I think it would suck for them to just like, yeah, here's a res for your black mage so that he can be more like red mage and summoner, I guess, because those are the two that can res, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Summoner's pretty in a nice place, but Black Mage is very much at the top of the DPS because it has to make up for the lack of utility, which is why everyone uses it. Yeah. I don't know. Going back to the whole discussion of like class identity or job identity, rather, from Yoshi P's statement, maybe that's what they're going to directly address, so that everybody has something that feels like they're actually doing, like, I'm helping, there's something that actually makes everyone feel like they're contributing, rather than the one scholar in the corner going, no one loves me, and then the one warrior just going, I used to pentacleave, why do you not love me so, Yoshi P? Soon.
So
I'm sure they'll all get love.
in terms of story, I'm assuming that you enjoyed the story. Like, which one is your favorite expansion actually to get started?
Heavensward.
Interesting. I like Shadowbringers a little bit more, but I love the fact that that's kind of like the community is actually a little bit divided there. So some people prefer Shadowbringers, others prefer Heavensward. I think it's a fair point, and it speaks to the quality of the content on display. Do you think that there's a lot of people that would say Stormblood is their favorite one?
No, I don't know anybody that would say that at all. Nobody that I've talked to in my little community that I've talked to has said, yeah, you know what, Stormblood, that was a good expansion. Most people are like, why did they split it on two fronts? Or most people will say, I liked Stormblood because of the Doman part, or I liked Stormblood because the Far Eastern stuff was fun, and the Four Lords story was fun. That honestly was the better part of that. It just felt really weird traveling back and forth between Garabania and Doma and the rest of it. It felt like they tried to split that too much. And it was just, to me personally, and this is my opinion, and most people might disagree, it felt rushed. It felt like we had to do both of these because otherwise we won't get that section of the story done, that ticked off, and then we can get back to the creative stuff. Because it certainly feels like after Stormblood, they were like, okay, we need to get as far away from that as possible because people are burning out of the idea of this boring part of the story that we've done. We need to do something different. And now we're coming back. They're like, okay, we need to really address this. And they've skipped straight to Garlemald. Everybody wanted Fafnir, from what I know. So they put that in. And then the moon, because apparently we're not waiting until 7.0, like you originally said, and we need to drive some hype for it. A lot of people are saying Stormblood 2 as the tagline. That's the current meme. It's like, I really hope not. But then when you have so vast of a storyline between Garlemald and physically the moon, and Fafnir, it's hard to not see that spread a little bit. But it depends on how they pace it and how, like you said, how they funnel us through the content, and presumably it'll all make sense. But it's the back and forth at Endgame that annoys a lot of people.
I mean, the thing is, during Shadowbringers, there were several situations where we also kind of like went back and forth between the source and the first, and they were able to make that work, I feel like. So maybe they've just gotten better at managing that type of thing over time.
I think it's because there was actually characters we care about involved.
Are
I
you
think that's the ultimate difference.
Are you trying to say that you don't care about Lise? Is that what you're saying?
Basically, yeah, that's what I am alluding at. Lise is the most flavorless of the scions, I feel.
Yeah, I didn't much care for Lise when my chat started telling me, "Don't worry, it's almost over, and then you don't have to deal with her anymore." I was like, "Thank God, never again."
Oh, that's brilliant.
I'm sorry, Lise. Like, I'm really sorry, but no, no more, because
I'm sure we'll have like a $4 redemption arc versus Zenos, though. I'm seeing that already in my mind.
we're gonna
I've
have
not
a what?
forgotten about
Sorry.
her. $4,
Oh yeah,
because
yeah,
she's a
yeah.
resonant, and Zenos is a resonant, and she wants to make things better. I can already see the redemption arc of $4 and her sacrificing her life to defeat Zenos, and then Van Daniel being the big bad, and then Van Daniel revealing himself to be Zeramus.
Who the hell is Zeramus?
Okay. Go play Final Fantasy IV.
Yeah,
That's all I'm gonna say.
that's gonna be hard. I'm probably not gonna be playing Final Fantasy IV anytime soon. But I was asking to you about story specifically because of
Right.
Xenos. I wanted to know, like, where do you stand on Xenos? Because me personally, like, once it started getting to like the body snatching parts, I was like, eh,
I was, why won't this dude die? That was my
exactly.
first thing. The more I see it, the more I realize that if you take into context that he is a son of the Empire and a direct son, basically, of someone who is a son, ultimately of an Ascian, he has Ascian blood within him. And basically, I think that's the link that makes him special that other resonance in that thing wouldn't be successful in. Maybe there is something hidden within him. Maybe, I don't know. He's an interesting character that I like to dislike depending on what he says and the context of it. I hated him. I liked him. I hated him. I liked him. I see a lot of artwork everywhere at the moment, so everybody currently likes him by the looks of it. But
I just wished in between patches that he would like trip and fall on his own sword or something. Just be like, well, he's dead now, and this is what it is.
I sometimes wonder if they're trying too hard to make him a Kefka. I always feel that they're trying to push him to be the insane bad guy with no reason to do anything. He's just, the reason he is bad is because he's just insane and hates you.
Wouldn't
I feel
that
that
be
they're
more?
just trying to push that too hard.
Wouldn't that be more like Fandaniel's thing? I feel like Zenos is just kind of like motivated by the thrill of the hunt. Like he wants to, almost like Goku in a way in Dragon Ball. It's like, oh, I want to fight the strongest person. I don't want them to die. Right? He just wants to fight somebody stronger than him so that he can become stronger. That's the vibe that I get from Zenos. It's just that bit where he was body snatching that it just bothered me. Like I think it got to a point where I was even like having trouble following. Wait, now he's a Garabanian soldier.
Oh yeah.
Now he's a Garlemald soldier, and now he's just like.
That is a big problem, actually. A lot of that was done off screen, and you're supposed to fill in the blanks, and it's not. I found that flaw as well. I'm like, wait, what? When did he become him again? What?
Yeah, and then eventually,
I'm
like,
tired of this mortal flesh or whatever he said, and I'm like, oh, okay.
And then he eventually, like, who does he fight for his body? Was it Elidibus or something? He fought. It was Elidibus, right? Elidibus. No, was it? Damn it, I forget.
Yeah, Elidibus was inside Zenos' body
Exactly,
at one point, and then the next time we see him in a cutscene, he's killing his father, and Gaia says, Elidibus, get out of that sort of thing, leave him alone, sort of thing. And it's like Elidibus is long since gone, and the Emperor's like, yes, he speaks the truth. I remember this specifically. And he's like, yeah, it's me. Elidibus has long since left me, sort of thing. But he did speak of Hydaelyn and Zodiac. So basically, Zenos knows everything that Elidibus did, which is the danger, really.
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit thicker of a story, but I think they're trying to ruse us into thinking that Zenos' only one goal is to just kill us. Okay, so he kills us. What else would he want to do? Maybe he needs to become powerful enough to kill us, and that's why he, I don't know, theoretically might try to become, or maybe he is the heart of Zodiac. I don't know.
My guess would be just be like, well, after he kills us, he's just gonna try to find someone who's stronger than us to go kill them. It's like that's kind of the way that it feels. But there's just so many theories around it at this point. I was personally like, I'm not. I mean, considering what happened throughout Shadowbringers and how good that story was, like I'm not overly concerned as to whether or not the next expansion is going to be enjoyable. But I would still have preferred to have like, I almost want it to be done with the Asians already. It's like when they suddenly revealed another Asian after we took care of Emmett, I was like, seriously, another one? No, wait, after we took care of Elizabeth, even. I'm just
but you
another
are
one. Just stop with the Asians. I want something else.
But you are an Asian deep down. That's what it's
Yes,
alluding to.
this is true. This is true.
Yeah, which is going to be interesting to explore. And I would love to see what 7.0 will be related to if they go down that route. Because if they're cutting off this storyline, then you could explore that side of things, right?
Yep. It's actually interesting that this time, for the first time around, 6.0, which is the first batch of Endwalker, for those of you that are not aware, 6.0 is actually going to be the end of the story. Usually we still get like 3 more patches to finish the story and then like 2 more patches to tie us into the next one. This time around, it's like, no, 6.0, that's the end. Boom, done. This arc is all over. 6.1 is something completely new. I'm super excited to see what's going to come after all of this.
It means that we will be we have to clean up all the loose ends, right? So Zenos has to die by the end of that one expansion launch patch. As soon as you're max level, you'll be doing a trial. He dies at some point along the way, and maybe Fandaniel. It all has to be wrapped up. That's a lot to do in just one quest line, isn't it? I don't know how they're going to do it unless they cut corners, which I don't want them to do.
Or maybe we deal with Fandaniel a little bit sooner. Maybe not like at the very end we're dealing with both of them. Or maybe it'll be the other way around. Maybe we'll deal with Zenos sooner and then Fandaniel. But I would imagine that Zenos is the one that is like the big baddie that we deal with at the end.
It feels like they're grooming him to become like a very powerful person in the future to face off against us. I don't think we're actually going to face off against Zenos. I think ultimately he will know something that Elidibus has put in his head and will exploit Fandaniel. It looks like Fandaniel's exploiting Zenos, but it's the other way around. And I think that Fandaniel will probably be the victim of this, and Zenos will use whatever he has to absorb either his power or become stronger than him or kill him himself. I mean, there's all kinds of speculation, but it's going to be fun.
It is definitely going to be fun. I can't wait for Endwalker. I think it's going to be awesome. It's going to be the first time that I'm going to be like on the front line because I've played when I started playing the game. Shadowbringers was already out, so everything that I was doing was not really at the front line. The most front line that I've been at is at each individual patch. So I think from 5.3 onwards, that's when I was like, okay, now I'm here at the very beginning of the patch. So I did like Castrum Lacus Latore, and then I found out recently that it's a good thing I did because apparently at the start of 5.4, not a lot of people were doing it.
It's a very important thing that you did because currently trying to get a group together to go and actually clear that is one of the hardest things. A friend of mine, I think he's on, was he 35 or 40 attempts now with people and couldn't get past the first boss because there was so few people. Yeah, it's absolute trash. But 16th of February, a couple of days from now, whenever this is going out, I don't know, All Worlds Maintenance, there's going to be a patch to nerf the fates outside that give the memories and give you, presumably, although we don't know yet, some reason to go into Bostia and Lacus Latore. So they are increasing the rewards, is what they said. We don't know what that means inside Lacus Latore. So the obvious thing to me would be to increase the drop rate of or add later parts of the resistance weapon chain as a reward from that as well. Perhaps if we could do one run of Lacus Latore for one of the things that we would have to do Crystal Tower for, or increase the amount of, if it's just an increase in Bosja coins, I'm done.
Yeah,
I will be very unhappy. I don't need Bosja coins,
and
I've got too many.
It's like the first couple of steps of the relic weapon. I actually did all of it in Bosja because I was like, I'm doing Bosja anyways. I'm grinding to like increase my metal and my rank and all this stuff. I can just do that. Like I don't mind not getting it all the time, but I'm slowly getting it. And I made my first relic up to the point that I could. But the step of 5.4, where they're like, if you do critical engagements, you get the whatever, the 15 things that you need that you cannot otherwise get in Crystal Tower. And it's like, no, you don't. Like I did like 20 critical engagements and I didn't get one drop, not one. I was like, dude, this is, I'm sorry. There's something wrong with like whatever your drop rate is for this is just not working. Like I just started doing Crystal Tower nonstop because the drop rate is way too low. I'm not sure what's going on there. It's weird.
I agree. The way I did my relic the first time round and subsequent ones has just been doing the fates outside because I can't stand the RNG of getting something. I'd rather just get it. And with a Crystal Tower stage, I spammed, 15 of those. And then I did, obviously we've done the Rabanasta stage, which was 18 of those. I did 18 Rabanastas rather than the fates because the fate drop rate is awful. And also
don't tell me that
runs
because I'm at that point now.
Yeah, the 18 runs of Void Ark, so you basically have Girabanian fates, or you have Othard fates, so Far East or Girabanian stuff. So I tried for maybe 6 hours or so. Yeah, just about that. Me and a group of others, we were doing fate, just like smashing fates to pieces in the fringes. Any zone will do, doesn't matter which. And I think I got 5.
Oh
total.
my God.
Yeah, compare that to obviously doing
doing one
Void
thing
Ark.
and boom.
Yeah, so I had to just grit my teeth and do 18 Rabanastas because it's the fastest out of the Ivalice raids, and 18 runs. The last few runs I needed obviously of Void Ark. That's how I would definitely advise you do that. But the best of it is, though, the blessing is that you don't have to do that step more than once.
Yeah, the thing is, I only plan on doing one relic weapon anyways.
Then it doesn't. Then I guess that information doesn't benefit you. It sucks really badly. Yeah. There's no doubts in anyone's mind that this is just basically them trying to create. Like it's not artificial difficulty, but it's trying to create a time sink for people, whilst there's no actual content really to do it.
Yeah.
Kind of at the moment that's coming out. 5.5, it has storyline from what we've seen, a dungeon, a few bits and pieces, but we're not getting an ultimate, which some people, that's a different discussion.
Yeah.
Honestly, for another time. But there's not a lot, it's safe to say, in 5.5 to keep people too happy. Other than the resistance stuff, right? We're getting another area.
What about there's the Orho raid as well, right?
Oh yeah, there is that. But honestly, once you've done that,
yeah,
it's just there's nothing enormous, right? It's not going to be a long storyline, I don't think. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong.
So
but it doesn't look too good.
Shifting us to another topic here. What were your thoughts on Island Sanctuary? What do you think is going to be
That's going to be, once I've leveled up to 90 on my Sage, my Twitch streams are going to be Island Sanctuary streams. Like, that's it. That's me done. I'm retiring from the rest of the game. I'm gonna grow a long beard on my female Makote. I'm gonna put that sun hat on, get the slacks on, get some wellies, get myself a pitchfork, release all of my minions, which I've got over 300 of them of,
Jesus
each of them,
Christ.
Just to chill out in my range. I'm going to start ranching, making myself a little bit of gil. No one else is allowed near my property. Just going to put landmines around it, just turn into a farmer.
What do you even think that thing is like? Because I like the fact that they specifically said it's not just a crafter / gatherer thing, because I'm not too into crafting or gathering. The only reason I have a crafter was for the dwarven quest, because like I told you, I have a thing for dwarves, and the fact that the Lalas and the first are dwarves, I'm just like, I have to do it. And you get a tank mount, so,
Which is amazing. I think it's fantastic, personally. And I see a lot of people going, oh my God, Farmville. I'm more like, wow, this is Harvest Moon. Literally, there's a moon as the focus of the expansion, and we're harvesting things. This is Final Fantasy XIV Harvest Moon Edition. I can't wait to get stuck into that. It's gonna be fun. The idea that you can raise animals and stuff. This was the farming content that I don't know if you know about, that was actually originally talked about a long time ago. I think it was pre Stormblood, but they talked about wanting to do farming content, and then Shadowbringers was supposed to have farming content, and now they've gone, you know what, let's just do this big old island sanctuary thing. It looks fun. Obviously, it's not going to be everyone's cup of tea, but more recently, over the last couple of years, last like 3 or 4 years, they've been trying to work on different parts of content. And before, if you didn't already know, we used to have a hard mode dungeon as well as a new dungeon added each of those patches. So instead of that, they took away the hard mode and they've given us stuff like ocean fishing, which personally was a huge time sink and I loved it. Right? It's not everyone's cup of tea, but it's something for everyone now. And I think that the Island Sanctuary is going to be a great opportunity to just relax, not worry too much about DPS and bosses and, being good at the game or PvP or whatever. You can just relax, and I'm sure there'll be lots of fun rewards like mounts and things. You can imagine it, can't you?
Yeah.
Imagine if you could rear your own animal, and if very World of Warcraft like, and get yourself a mount that way. That was one of my favorite things. Ungora Crater, when you could tame the little dinosaur and then he became a raptor that you could mount around on.
Oh yeah. The quest, and then you could get a raptor as an alliance character, which is at least at the time was not an easy thing to do. There was that, and there was Zolga Rub as well, and
yeah, that sort of stuff. That sounds fun to me.
So I'm curious: are you familiar with the Mythic Plus system in World of Warcraft?
I am, yes.
Do you think that is they haven't announced anything like that for Endwalker, but do you think that's a possibility?
I don't think it's a possibility, but it would be fun to have. I've always been the person that came from, because obviously the last one that I properly played through on WoW when we were raiding, and I had a reason to log into that game was Mr. Pandaria, and I did the challenge mode dungeons, and I got gold on them all. And that was some of my favorite content. You've got a time limit and it's difficult, and and that's what Mythic Plus kind of was, wasn't it? That sort of
Mythic
evolution.
Plus, Mythic Plus is basically like the higher you go on the key level, the more HP, the more damage they deal, and on top of it, there's like random modifiers, and you still have the time limit that you have to finish before the time, otherwise you get less rewards. Because that's my favorite type of content as well, is like the less players. So like you only need 4 players in the case of 14, and WoW would be 5. But like the 5-man content, 4-man content, that's the type of stuff that I really like. And it's just on 14, you get to a point where like, I'll go do an expert dungeon. There's nothing expert about it. I just run wall to wall, kill everything. I don't even have to properly do a rotation. I can just like spam the 2 AoE abilities from the paladin, it'll be fine. Like I'll do a rotation just to practice it, but you don't have to. You don't have to do much. You just kind of like run wall to wall, kill, wall to wall, kill, boss, wall to wall, kill, wall to wall, kill, boss. And it's like, it's cool the first couple of times you do it, but like I would really love to have something, doesn't have to be Mythic Plus, but just something that would be like more challenging 4-man content. I think that would be really cool.
A lot of people have asked why there isn't stuff like that before, and we've not really had much of an answer. The key thing I would like to address here is that it would be a perfect answer to the problems that they have for new players, because currently we have that sort of like duty and need requirement thing, and we have a roulette system, right? So if you queue into Alliance Roulette, it's going to put you into the one that's most queued for, right? If people are queuing for it to help people get through the storyline, etc., whatever it is. But the real answer wouldn't be to add more roulettes. It would be the answer would be to add replayability to those old dungeons, to make people go and get specific things. All they would need to do would make it item level synced to that particular dungeon, and make the items inside that dungeon needed to get the best possible clear or time, in a speed run or whatever challenge mode of that same dungeon. when you do it normally, that would force people to queue for that. And all you would need as a reward is like the chance of getting, you remember the spoils you got in World of Warcraft? All we need is a sack that you got upon completion that had a chance to have a mount in it or a hairstyle, and everybody would be doing it. And that would solve single-handedly all of the old content's problems, as well as introduce a new form of replayability for those dungeons that people worked so hard on that we very rarely go into now, apart from when one occasionally pops.
Like I was actually amazed the first couple of times that I did a hard dungeon, because I just expected it to be the same dungeon I had done previously, except with bigger numbers. And I was like, oh no, this is an entirely different dungeon. Like, what is going?
Yeah,
I remember going into Sastasha hard, and I was like, wait, I don't remember Sastasha being like this. What are you talking about? This is different.
Suddenly it goes downwards, and you're draining a pool of water. You're like, wait a minute.
Yeah,
I don't remember jellyfish. I don't remember the Sahagin being here. What is this?
So
a Kraken.
that was really great, and I really do hope that they do more dungeon type content, because that's stuff that I really like. I also really like the raids, though. I love the raids, but I don't really have a static, so I don't feel like doing Party Finder. So I end up never really going for Savage. So
that's fair enough.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not something that's mandatory anyway. The only thing you're missing out on is usually the fourth boss of something has like a cool transition that you can watch on YouTube anyway. That's specific to that mode. The rest of it's kind of. Like
I've seen some of those. They're really impressive. I was like, holy crap.
Neo X Death, for example, and where he just cracks through the screen and then it rips open. Yeah, that's we want more stuff like that. I love that so much, but
so what do you?
Yeah, there needs to be more replayability. Sorry, go on.
Yeah. I was going to ask you, what do you think about the number crunch? Looks like the numbers are getting too big.
Yeah, it's interesting how they're doing it. I don't think WoW did the same method, did they? It was more of like the whole lot of numbers get squished, whereas this time it's like everything from level, what was it, level 50? Was it 51? I can't remember. I don't have notes in front of me.
I know that there was a couple of level specific things that they did in regards to that. My biggest surprise from the number crunch was that it's actually going to affect unsync duties. And I was like, no, I still haven't gotten the mount from Sephiroth. It's the only one I care about because I want to have a Phoenix.
Yeah, they said they're trying to come up with a solution for it. I'm like, why can't I go and do that stuff? I mean, it doesn't bother me too much, but the thing that bothers me most of all, even though I've got those mounts, is glamour, right? Pieces that I need for Fashion Report. So the big problem I've got at the moment is I'm trying to fill as many retainers as physically possible with as much gear that could potentially be used for Fashion Report, so I don't have to run it again in the future. Because currently we can unsync it, blow through there, have a chance of it dropping, right? The chance on some of this gear is awful, by the way. The stuff behind the scenes for those videos is just nightmarish. I could spend like 8 hours trying to farm a headpiece. You know, it's that bad.
Oh, I remember.
I can only imagine how much worse it's going to be when that stuff has to be like, well, you have to get more people to help you, basically, right? Because the syncing is not going to work properly. Unsyncing, rather.
I remember at one point during one of my Lalafell fever dreams, because every now and then I have this thing that I do with Fantasia where I become a Lalafell because it's the closest thing I can be to a dwarf, right? And so I remember during one of those, I was like, man, I really like this armor set. It's called the Filibuster.
Oh, yeah.
And I've ran that dungeon. I just want the chest. I don't even want anything else. I just want the chest, the Filibuster fending chest piece. I must have ran that dungeon over 50 times. I still don't have the damn thing. I think I have enough gear to fill up all of the other classes except the tanking chest piece. I'm just like,
is that the one with the little like pockets that look like they've got grenades on them? And
exactly.
Stuff?
Yeah.
Because World War II stuff.
At the time, I was playing Gunbreaker, and I was like, man, this would look really cool in like this, this worn down Gunbreaker look with grenades and stuff. Like, but no, I wasn't able to get it at all. I was like, okay, I quit. So I can imagine like what the struggle is for getting all of those things for Fashion Report and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean that's it. As much as people might think, oh well, it's fine. It's like, well, not really. That is a big component of this game. Is is doing things unsynced. That's why it's there. When I was playing WoW, the thing I did in between anything else, when nobody could be bothered to play or do anything or do dungeons, I used to go and do Black Temple, once a week or whatever it was to try and get my Warglaives. I was working on drop rates from something to try and work on a legendary weapon somewhere else, or or I was trying to mount farm, because that's a thing that is even more incentive to go into dungeons that should exist in this game.
It's very funny that you say that, because I made the Thunder Fury, so
Nice.
I spent a lot of time in Molten Core grinding the bindings of the Windseeker to make the friggin' Thunder Fury. So yeah, I did a ton of that as well. It's just like doing some of the older content in 14 is not quite as easy, because there's a lot of mechanics that will just straight up one shot you. Like I remember doing I don't remember the boss's name, but the one that's got like a scale, and you just put stuff on the scale and then it flips the thing around. Sophia? Yeah. Sophia.
Yeah.
I remember doing that one, and I soloed that one in my paladin, but I was like, damn, this was not easy. This was not easy at all.
It's easy once you learn about what the wires mean and where to go. It's easy.
It got a little bit easier, but it was here's the thing, it's easy, but it's still a big time commitment, is what I'm saying. As a paladin staying there the whole fight, like bam, bam, bam. I think it was like, actually, I don't remember how much time it took in between attempts, but I was like, this is too much. This is too long. It takes me too long to kill it in between attempts. But then again, yeah. So
grab some viewers and do it. That's what I would do.
Yeah.
Grab some of your viewers and get it done quicker.
I got to stream more 14 to go and do Sephiroth.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what you do. You start a stream and then you're like, right, what do I want to do? Okay, these guys will help me. That's what you do.
You start a stream and you're like, okay, I need help. I guess I'm going to go stream to get people to come help me.
That's right. That's what you do. You wouldn't be the first or the last.
Well, the thing is, usually I do it the opposite way in Monster Hunter. Like I start a stream to carry people through some of the events in Monster Hunter. So I guess on 14 I would do it the other way around.
It's your payment for your years of service.
Yes,
that's what it is.
You guys heard it here first. That's going to be my strategy from now on. Just like stream 14, get everything I want.
Get this man through all of the Stormblood extremes as well. Get him the doggos.
I don't care. I don't care that much about the doggos, to be honest. I just want the Phoenix, and it's because I also have a thing for Phoenixes. I just really like Phoenixes. So, and I have all of the birds. I'm just literally just missing Sephiroth. That's the only thing I'm missing.
He is one big glowy bird, so you're gonna love that.
Okay, so now I have to ask you something.
What's that?
Did you do the best trial in Final Fantasy XIV?
Ooh, which is the best trial in Final Fantasy XIV?
I mean, I would assume you've done all of them, right?
Yes.
And you did do it. You've done the Great Hunt Extreme.
Of course.
You have the Rathalos mount, right?
Of course. In my video, my top 10 mounts, number 1 is Rathalos.
Oh, right. I saw that. Damn it. That's right. I did.
Absolutely. I love that thing.
Yeah,
it was the best crossover ever, literally ever, that I could have asked for. I do think that Monster Hunter World got the better side of it, though, in terms of having, the extreme mode of Behemoth, right?
Holy crap. That thing was hard as hell. Nightmare.
Yeah, I don't think I've cleared that. I got close, but I had to do it with randoms. So
I cleared it, and I also, it wasn't full randoms. Like there were some people on stream, some people that had played with me before, but I also did it with. I didn't do it too often though, because that one was. It actually required, like, I would say raid level communication. Like I actually started organizing that as if it was a regular raid. So I'd be telling people, listen, if you get Charybdis, if you get targeted by it, you go to the edge of the screen, you put your friggin' hurricanes like anywhere else. Okay. I have a friend of mine.
Genius.
A friend of mine was playing Aerial Insect Glaive, and you can't see when you're getting targeted by Charybdis. And I was like, you can't play Aerial Insect Glaive, dude. I'm sorry. Pick another weapon. Pick anything else. You can't play Aerial Insect Glaive, so that I can tell you, if you got Charybdis, get the hell out. Because it was.
It's such a well-designed fight from what I saw. And yeah, I mean, our Final Fantasy version was just as good, but obviously not. We don't have that difficulty curve, you know. The extreme's not.
Yeah, I didn't think it
painful.
was that hard. It was funny though, seeing people that were way better than me at Final Fantasy, like getting completely clipped by Rathalos, and because I knew Rathalos's moveset, I'm like, nope, that's a tail swipe. I move away, and then just see people getting bodied by him. Like,
Isn't it so good though how they ported every single one of those tells that if you've played Monster Hunter, you would know. And the 14 people are just like, what is this? It's like, there was no tell for that. Yes, there was.
Yes.
Try looking at the boss.
Exactly.
So,
I thought it was brilliant.
I was really hoping that they would do another crossover. And Yoshi P said that never say never when it comes to Monster Hunter, because they're great friends. And obviously, they made a lot of money out of that collaboration.
Oh, I can imagine.
So your mind just races of the sort of crossovers we could have. And what we could give to Monster Hunter guys is just an ultimate punishment. Maybe like Good King Moogle Mog would be a great boss to give you. Yeah,
I don't like that fight, dude. I don't like Moogles in general. Like you know what I said I would do to a Moogle? I would rip out his little pom-pom and then like fill it with gunpowder and then feed it to him and then light up the thing that they connect to the pom-pom like a fuse and then just watch him explode. That's what I would do to Moogles, dude. I don't like them at all.
So there we go. So, Monster Hunter patch coming soon. Good King Moogle Mog. Kill him in the wrong order and you die. Move in the wrong place and you die. Touch one of them that's not in the correct order and you die. Yeah, that'd be the perfect content for Monster Hunter, wouldn't it? That would be fun. And then we could get something like, what could we have? What
would you like to have for Monster Hunter? I'm actually curious. What would you like to have for Monster Hunter in 14?
Oh, I don't know. It'd have to be... if I could have anything. Jen Moran.
Holy crap.
Just because we have that unused desert area, we could use that. Or
there's already mechanics of us being essentially on a platform that's a boat with a Leviathan raid. So, it's just like adapt that, but then there's that would be cool.
That would be hilarious. Something just imposing, like, what is this thing? Yes. It would have to be something big this time.
But anyway, we've been talking for about 90 minutes, and pretty soon the YouTube algorithm is going to be like, dude, are you crazy? You're insane.
And we barely touched Endwalker as well. Like, there's so much more.
There's so much more to talk about. But I am going to be calling it here for this video. If you guys do enjoy it, make sure to hit the like button. Let us know in the comment section. We will probably do more, whether you enjoy it or not, because I enjoy it. I love talking with you, Meoni. It was amazing. Guys, you'll find links to Meoni's channel and Twitch and all of that stuff in the description. Hopefully I don't forget, because my mind kind of sucks with that stuff. But
you're not the only one, don't worry.
I'm what?
You're not the only one, don't worry. My mind is just like, at the moment, it's just Relic grind, and then everything else is just, I've forgotten. I forget what day it is. So, yeah, you're not the only one.
I can imagine, particularly if you're doing those 36 Evilist raids or whatever. It's, oh my God, I have to do it
18.
too.
I've got 15 more relics to grind. I've done 2.
Why do you grind every relic?
Because I wanted to make a video showcasing them all at finished stages. And even though that there's some videos out there already, those people are using third-party tools.
Oh, yeah. They're data mining it, right?
Yeah, and I want to use like just my time and energy and prove that I can do it. That's it. It's just a little goal. I'm insane.
I mean, that's fair. So long as you're having goals and you're having fun with it, it's fair. I just want my paladin weapons and I'll be happy. That's all I care about. But anyway.
So good though. But carry on.
That is going to be it for this video, guys. Thank you all very much for watching. And if there's anything that you want to shout out, sir, the floor is yours.
Not really. Come by, watch me grind on Twitch. That's about it, really. Twitch.tv/Meoni. That's it.
There you go.
See you around, hopefully.
Yep. We'll see you guys in the next one. Stay strong, stay safe. Peace out.
Bye.